Never, ever, ever does this day come along and I don't feel the same level of excitement that I did as a kid. I am sorry. That never changes. And if it ever does change, I need to get out of this business. Good morning to you. Good Thursday morning. Happy opening day. This is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and hockey, take a back seat. Today is baseball's day. Pirates versus Reds at 4:10 p.m. here in Cincinnati at Great American Ballpark. I spent the day with the team yesterday, both before, during, and after their workout, having a chance to catch up with a lot of different people on a lot of different subjects. That in and of itself was uplifting, because if you're a reporter, you've got to be around. You've got to be around. You've got to make sure that you're in constant communication, or at least regular communication, for somebody like me who covers all three of Pittsburgh's teams. Sensing that excitement, hearing everybody from Derek Shelton on down talk about the little things, the individual things that they're appreciating after the spring training that they just had, the general expectations that they have for the group. Let's start off today's episode with basically my asking Shelton exactly that.
Are you excited about all this?
Yeah, I'm very excited. Yes, it's nice to be in Bradenton. It's nice to celebrate 100 years in Bradenton. It's nice to be at home. I'm ready to get going. It's time to go. It was time for us to get out. I was pleased with the way we played the last 10 days. I think I said early on, I didn't think we played as sharp as we had, but I was pleased the way that we were the last 10 days, so ready to go.
It comes up a lot about the Pirates, so they can surprise people. Will they surprise you?
No, I think we have a team that's better, so we have to execute. I mean, we still have a ton of youth here, which we're going to have to realize that there's still going to be growing pains, but I really feel we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, he's excited. And it's funny, that trait of his where he never freaks out, he never loses it, that's something that translates really well to this new environment in which he and everyone over his head is acknowledging that, hey, you got to win. Okay, now nobody's putting a number on it, but they are saying it, and they're saying it publicly. So if you're Shelton, you can either go, oh no, I'm about to finally get graded on this stuff, or you can take the approach that he very clearly is. I actually was joking with him a little bit after what you just heard there as to whether or not we're going to start seeing him throw food tables over. And he was like, no, I think that's going to get me in trouble with the people who make the food at PNC Park. He's not going to be that guy. It's not in his personality. And he actually doesn't believe in it from a managerial standpoint of showing the frustration that he'll occasionally feel in managing, a team that has consecutive 100-loss seasons. But the overall vibe, I gotta watch how I say this to you, okay? Because I don't want to sound, excessively anything in either direction. But not sharing what I think and not saying that I agree with them. But this group has a belief about itself that is not forced, that is not phony, and that most definitely is not PR, because the players don't engage in PR. They couldn't care less about it. There is a real feel in that room that they've got the talent to go out and win on a consistent basis. Now, none of them are making grand predictions either. They're not throwing out win totals. They're not talking about playoffs or chasing the Cardinals or anything like that. But they are saying that they plan to be and expect to be and will demand of themselves a level of performance that will allow them to be in competition in every game that they play, in every series that they play. Probably the guy who expressed that better than anyone else to me, and this is ironic considering that English is his very distant second language, was O'Neal Cruz. He and I were talking about that series at Dodger Stadium last year, where the Pirates, of course, swept LA and did so in a very convincing way. Like if you had just landed on our planet from Pluto and knew nothing at all about these teams. Of course, you'd have to know something about baseball in order for this little parallel of mine to work. You would think to yourself that the Pirates were the significantly better overall team. You would think that they were the ones with the big payroll. They out-hit, out-pitched, outfielded, out-everythinged the billion-dollar Dodgers. And I asked Cruz if the demeanor that he showed throughout his rookie season, always keeping his chin up, always being confident, is something that he could see happening more often if the team is successful around him. And he corrected me. He said, no. He said, everybody is going to be walking around like that. Everybody. He didn't put it in exactly those words. Again, English as a distant second language. But that was the essence of what he was saying. Everybody is going to walk around like that. Everybody already is walking around like that. And he motioned to Carlos Santana, who was across the room. G-Man Choi was also over there. Kutch was sitting there a couple of stalls down. Rich Hill was in the far corner. It's different in there. It's different. That's one word that Cruz used. That's one word that Will Crow threw at me, I think 4 times. That's a word that Brian Reynolds mentioned to me. It's different. It's different. Well, we'll see if it's different where it counts beginning this afternoon. But for this one day that I was here and seeing and hearing and feeling all of this from these guys as they're just about to embark, I hope I am sufficiently yet fairly and accurately sharing the sense from in there, because it is real. When we come back, J1Q.
This portion of Daily Shot of Pirates is brought to you by our friends at North Shore Tavern, that's directly across Federal Street from PNC Park. It's home of Steak on a Stone, an eating experience, underscoring the word experience. The steak is brought to you partially cooked on an 800-degree stone, and you do the rest. It's a ton of fun, it's a great meal, and it's a baseball atmosphere like no other in Pittsburgh. North Shore Tavern, right across Federal Street from PNC Park. Today's J1Q comes from AJ, and it's one of many that came in response to the prediction episode yesterday. That always gets a lot of response and counters and everything else here. AJ says, the Pirates do have improved pitching and the chance of some hitting, and I don't think that 15 more wins is out of the question. It's possible to see 77, but man, there's still some serious drag at the bottom of that batting order. They do finally seem to be moving out of the embarrassment stage and into legit baseball. That's kind of where I am, AJ. I don't see, and boy, I heard a lot of this. I don't see forecasting 77 wins as optimistic. Okay? I don't see how you can look at that as some sort of rosy scenario. It's 5 games under mediocrity. Okay? And on top of that, as I mentioned yesterday, you are comparing the coming team to one last year that didn't even take winning seriously. And I mean publicly, visibly. I mean, they would just claim someone off the waiver wire, no matter how horrible their credentials were, and roll them out there. Summer-long tryout camp is what I kept calling it. So how do you compare not only the roster being better to what it was last year, but everyone now on the record, including Shelton again here yesterday, as saying the winning is the thing that matters this year? Okay, well, great. So I would definitely factor that into the prediction. Any prediction that you make, trying is going to give you a much better chance of succeeding, even at this really modest level, than not trying. And this really, more than anything else that I came across yesterday, seemed to be something that's really uplifting for the players. And I realize I'm starting to say things that sound ridiculous. Okay, like, oh, they're going to try this year and they didn't last year. These are ridiculous things to discuss about sports.
but that's also the franchise that you chose as your favorite, or you were born into it. This is where they are in this weird system in which they operate, the weirdly imbalanced economic system that Major League Baseball has, on top of having an owner who doesn't spend what he should be spending. So they went from 3 years of not trying to now a year of trying. And I'm sorry, but to me, that's worth a few wins, trying. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Pirates. 4:10 p.m. is the time of the first pitch from Hunter Green to O'Neill Cruz at Great American Ballpark. I can't wait for it, and I can't wait to share whatever observations we might mutually have on tomorrow's episode.